Welcome to Childcare Conversations, the podcast where early childhood leaders like you get real-world strategies, honest talk, and a whole lot of support. Whether you're running one center or many, we're here to help you lead with confidence and clarity. This episode is brought to you by our summer partner, Childcare Business Growth, your go-to solution for filling spots, increasing revenue, and scaling your childcare business without the burnout. We're proud to partner with a team that's as committed to your success as we are. Learn more at childcarebusinessgrowth.com. Now, let's get into today's conversation, one we think you're really going to love.
Hi, so welcome to Childcare Conversations with Kate and Carrie. I'm not Kate, and I'm not Carrie. I am Erica, and I have hijacked their show. Today, I'm putting them in the spotlight because they do so many things. There's a good chance if you're listening to this podcast, you met them at a conference or you haven't had the wonderful pleasure to meet them yet, but hopefully you will at your next conference. So, Kate and Carrie, welcome to your show.
Woohoo!
And I think this is the first that I'm in a car and Kate's in an office. So I think that's kind of fun and different.
You do what you got to do, right? Some of us were prepared.
So I am so excited to be here. I have the wonderful pleasure of knowing Kate and Carrie pretty well now. I would say maybe a little over a year. They are the most kind people ever. By the way, thank you. My director's chair, hint, hint, is here. It's at my house. So my husband's like, do you want me to build it? I'm like, yeah. I would like to get it out of the box. So,
I think that needs to be its own version of an unboxing video. Put those millennials to work and a whole series. And then I think there's a grandchild who could sit in that and join you. And he'd probably love to be your little mini mascot, at least for a mini photo shoot to send to us.
I would love to, but I can't do that because he cannot have photos right now.
I got that. I got that.
That's okay. That's okay. But we'll do definitely unboxing and send that to all of you. So guys, I want to ask you something because I've heard so many stories from you, but I don't know that I've ever heard this one. So what made you two ladies decide to work together? And then did you know, or when did you realize that it was like pure magic when you do it together?
So I can answer the second part.
Okay, so well, I'll answer the first one.
Okay, but I want to do my part first. So when we realized that we were pure magic together is when we were kids, and there was a summer that just the two of us kids, I don't know, my brother may have been there, but he has no place in my memory. But I remember Kate and I being at the family farm, the farm that our grandfather grew up on. And we spent what to me was the entire summer. Who knows? Children's time is not real time. Making up our own version of badges because we were Girl Scouts. So we needed badges for everything we did. And so we had like daily ice cream badge for a week. And we had saw a gopher badge. And we made badges for everything. And it was probably my most fun summer of my whole life. And that includes summers where I was at the beach for weeks at a time. And I had Girl Scout camp. But the weeks that Kate and I made up our own version of scouting and demanded that our uncle be kind of our driver. And we were just like, we're going to go do this now, Uncle Fred. You need to drive us. That is when I think we knew that we had a really great working relationship.
So I'm going to take us back, maybe not quite as far. Carrie took us back over 40 years. And I'm going to take us back just about 26. So I was at a point in my life where I knew that I didn't want my oldest son to be an only child. Well, not really an only child, to grow up with no family near him. So Carrie and I are cousins. We've been that for, over 50 years. And my son wasn't going to have any cousins near him. And so I started to apply for jobs all over the country where I had cousins who had kids about his age. And this was before everybody had social media, so you really didn't know what your cousins were doing unless your parents told you. And in our case, our moms were not the bestest sibling friends. And so it would have had to be a conversation with like Carrie's mom to our grandma and my mom to the grandma, and the grandma to think that we needed to know, assuming that our moms even talked about us to the grandma. So like the true version of social media, right? That's how that would have had to work for us to even have a clue what the other one did. But I did know that Carrie had two daughters that weren't much younger than my son, and this seemed like a really good idea because my grandmother was also about to move to Austin, Texas. So I got a job. I moved to Austin, Texas. I show up here and find out that Carrie is in childcare. Meanwhile, I came to Texas to work for the Texas Center for Women's Business Enterprise, actually running what I came to do was to run a how to start a child care center
No.
series like I did in Ohio. So that didn't happen. They changed to women in construction right after I got here. So instead, Carrie and I started doing, there was, I think it was even the predecessor to the Greater Austin Training Coalition calendar, wasn't it, Carrie? Wasn't it just you and
Maybe.
Sandy?
Yeah, so that was teachers. So
Yeah.
that was, there was another owner friend and I trained each other's staff. And then other people were like, hey, would you train our staff too? And so we made a little training group and we trained around Central Texas. And then we threw Kate into the mix.
So about 1997, 1998, Teachers was born, and I jumped in not too long after that, and I pretty much did business classes, which meant that it really became I did the owners, not necessarily the teachers that the owners and the directors were training. And so we quickly realized that we liked to teach together. By 2002, we were doing a director credential together. Now, by 2002, I had been Carrie's director at her fourth location, and we still survived, like we didn't kill each other. Um, we had family dinners together. Our kids were growing up together. And we had created, we broke every rule I had for business by that point in time. So by that point in time, I was 30 and I was like, I am never doing business with a relative again. I am never doing business with somebody who I would call a friend again. I am never getting my family associated with my business partners because I had had some burn marks and I was never going to do that. And here I did it. And I did it in a really, really, well, it became a really big way. I did not know um, well, I guess that would have been 99 when we formed our first LLC. And I did not know what that was going to become. And we started doing training and director credentialing in the state of Texas. We've now done that for over 23 years. And we've now written books together. And
Hey, stop, stop. Okay, don't go into my other questions, girl. Stay on track. Okay.
I don't know what the questions are. You're the one who wrote down the questions.
My question to you was, how did you first decide that you were going to work together? That was my question. You answered it. Don't go on to the rest of my interview. I've been waiting a lifetime for this interview. All right, so I want to know what inspired you, because you guys have a lot of things. You do a lot of things. And we're going to talk about all of them. I'm so prepared for this interview. I feel like I am Oprah interviewing the best of the best in early childhood education. Let me have my moment. What inspired you to get into publishing and thought leadership in this field particularly? Because I know we know the history that you guys had a lot of experience in publishing, but why ECE? Why childcare businesses?
Okay, I'm going to take that sort of. So the reason we started doing director credentialing is because I was asked to write a director credentialing course because they wanted a book. And they asked me to write the book, and I started. And then they said, and I said, and when will I start teaching it? And they said, no, 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 you're not qualified to teach it, just to write the book. And I got a little bit hot under the collar, and I took my book and I left because they hadn't paid me anything. So I took it and we did our own. So we did the old fashioned version of self-publishing that back in 2002. So that's when I first published, or we first published anything in the ECE field. But like, we didn't do the stuff with getting an ISBN and sending it to the Library of Congress. We didn't do any of that. We did very basic self-publishing of that because we wanted a course, a textbook for the course that covered all the areas that a director needs to know, that covered marketing, that covered classroom management, that covered guidance, that covered staffing, that covered legal organization. Because even if you're not the one who owns the organization, whether you're an LLC or a nonprofit affects the director, and they need to know why. So we wanted all of that in our book, and there wasn't a book that had all that. So that's how we started, way back in the day. But when we decided to put the book out so that anybody could get it, you didn't have to just come through us, was really, can I be completely honest?
Yes.
I was tired of making up the books and sending them to our students. And I was like, they can buy their own book off of Amazon. That was the whole reason, was I was tired of putting together the books.
Okay. And then you want to add that, Kate, or is that good?
Well, so the only thing I'd like to add is one of the things that we discovered after creating that first book and making it an ebook is that it wasn't nearly as scary as we thought it was going to be. And so then we did the next one, and Carrie wrote some children's books, and then I wrote a children's book with Carrie. And then we had these great ideas for other books, and we had our first set of what we call super friends who are like, we want to write a book. And so we helped the three of them write a collaborative book together. And so the five of us wrote this book, and we were like, okay, that was a lot of fun. And they were able to share with us their stories about that, how it made them feel, their confidence level, the respect they saw from their clients. And we were like, okay, we need to offer this to more people. So we kind of said that maybe we would do that. And then people went, hey, I want to get in line. I want to help, and I need that help. And so what started out as something we would kind of maybe help folks with if they asked us, has turned into a huge opportunity, not just for us, but for directors and owners to really start to share their authority, and we love it.
Awesome.
Erica's going to make you be quiet. I think we answered the question.
No, I've had one more part.
You got 20 seconds. Go.
Both of us had published the Real Way before we did that. The book that we did together that was in the industry. Just it had been in other industries. So we had done it. We just hadn't done it in the industry.
Okay. I want to know, what do you think makes your voice and your approach stand out of the sea of presenters in early childhood education?
From a presenting standpoint?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
You wear a lot of hats, and we are going to showcase them all today in this episode.
Okay. So now that I've changed hats, I think the biggest thing is that as a presenter duo, which is not an easy thing to do, and not a lot of people do it, we're fun. We bring an energy to the room. We are somewhere between entertainment and educational. So we're edutainment. This was not something we grew up and said we wanted to do. There was definitely no, hey, I want to be a little improv comedian that teaches people. We actually joke that all of our kids, all of Carrie's kids, Carrie's husband, like, they've all taken improv classes. We haven't, but yet we're the ones that get paid.
Yeah, both of us, when we train independently, also have that mentality because we know the science that people learn better if they're playing. So we try to make the trainings have some elements of play to it because that's what we know from education science is that if I stand up there and I just quote facts and figures the whole time, and then it becomes like Charlie Brown's teacher and it doesn't go in their head. They've got to play some and they've got to have at least some time to either discuss or implement. What's great is if we have enough time in a session that we can talk, they can play, they can discuss, and they can implement. If we can get all four of those, that is what we consider a great training. But a lot of people are like, you can have 45 minutes to discuss why you should train your directors. And I'm like, the heck you say? How am I supposed to do that in 45 minutes? So we don't always get all four elements, but we try.
Okay. Well, I will say we hired you to come out to Rhode Island in May, and all the feedback forms that we got, you guys were definitely in the top two favorite presenters of our entire conference, which was 2 days and 15 speakers. So we'll leave that there. Let me ask you something, because I know this has probably changed, but what's your mission behind your brand and how has it evolved over time? Because you guys, you've been in the field now for quite a bit.
Our mission is to empower every early childhood school and school age program to have amazing quality care because the leaders are well cared for and well educated.
Okay.
And I'm not really sure, Erica, that mission has necessarily changed. I think we've just we've seen, well, first of all, podcasts didn't exist when we started. Self-publishing on Amazon. There was no Amazon when we started, and there was no KDP, self-publishing book by book versus 2,000 at a time. So I think that we've tried to remember that the directors are still the same age as they were when we started. We're just older. And so we have to find them where they are. So are they on podcast? Are they on TikTok? Are they on social media? Are they on an ebook? I remember, how big a deal was when we launched our first online course in '05. We were the first online course in early childcare in the country in 2005. And people are like, well, you can't do that. What about those people with dial-up? Well, we figured out how to work with those people on dial-up still. That's how old we are.
Yeah. So you just find more ways to get the information out to the folks that need it.
Absolutely.
So from pages to stages, guys. So what's the most rewarding part of being publishers in this space?
The look on someone's face when they realize that the words they wrote had an impact on someone else. Like the look on their face when they become a bestseller is great, but it's not as good as the look on their face when they are telling the story of someone who's been impacted by their book. Like that, those conversations, that is what makes the publishing something I'm willing to keep doing, even though it wasn't on my list, right? Why I feel like I'm not chasing a shiny object. I am helping people make an impact in a way that they didn't know that they could. I think that's amazing.
Okay. So when you're having people bring you these books, right, there sometimes might be the hard conversations too. So how do you decide what voices and stories are worth amplifying? Because somebody might bring you a book that's really not great.
Well, we've had those, so that's a great question. So part of the goal when we are talking with somebody who wants to publish a book is what is the ultimate goal for them? And so again, this is not about us being a traditional publisher, because a traditional publisher, it's all about the publisher, right? It's all about them making money. But if your goal as a author is to amplify your authority, to have all of your handouts and notes in one place that you get to give them that book and go, hey, today we're going to do chapter 12 in today's workshop. Or you know that you went through some struggles and you know that your struggles are going to inspire somebody else. And if your ultimate goal is training, keynoting, creating a stage for yourself, then we're
Or
going to
filling up your program,
know.
filling up your classrooms.
Yes, absolutely. So you've got something that you're an expert in, then we want to help you with that, but we're going to take it from the lens of what you told us your goal was. And sometimes we do have to have difficult conversations with clients who are like, but I want to do this now. And I'm like, that's not who your book is targeted to, you know? So sometimes we do have to be the business coach. And again, we come from that background. We have a lot of years in a variety of industries, not just childcare. And so we're able to go, okay, look, this is who you told us you wanted your book for. This is what you told us the goal is. Just because somebody else is doing something that's shiny and you think it looks like fun doesn't mean that's a fit for you and your book. And we know that that's not, nobody likes to hear it. Carrie's flat out told people that that book is not very good and it doesn't sound like the author. It's like, it's no fun. It's very boring. And we give it back to them. And so, yeah.
And I mean, it's the same as when you're a director at a center and you've got a teacher who is trying to do stuff in the classroom that is not a match for the kids in that classroom. And so you've got to have those caring conversations where you're like, look, you said you wanted to build your authority and increase the enrollment at your center, and you're writing a book about how your mama didn't treat you right. And that book is not going to fulfill that purpose, right? If you want to write a book that's going to help fill your center, it needs to be about why dual language, you are a dual language program, why dual language is so important for cognitive development. Don't be writing your memoir if your goal is to fill up your program. It's not going to work.
That is good advice. So speaking of that, while we're still on the subject of books, what's one book, article, or blog that you published that changed you personally?
That's a harder one.
So that we actually published ourselves. For me, that's
Yeah.
probably the From Oh Shit to I Got This. And we published that last August. And it was the first book I took a lead on. So Carrie kind of took the lead on our others before that. And there's an awful lot of personal stories in that book. There were definitely some aha moments that inspired the writing of that book. But I also realized by having shared parts of my story and having conversations with other women, they'd gone through similar stories. And so some of them allowed me to share their story in the book. Some of them, the names were changed to protect
To
the
protect the
innocent.
innocent. Yeah.
Yeah. But to me, it was um, just the whole experience of um, taking that particular topic, which was very raw, from start to finish, and incorporating all of the things that I love about being in business, why I think everybody should be in business, and to understand
Okay,
that sometimes that oh shit moment is what propels your business.
so tell people what that topic was, because you just said that topic and didn't explain what the topic was, girl. Define your terms.
So, the book From Oh Shit to I Got This is about that unexpected transition in female business owner lives. And so for me, it was finding myself unexpectedly getting divorced. I hadn't really been in a position where I was expecting it. And I sure the heck wasn't expecting to be the primary breadwinner with minor children. And so it was definitely an oh shit. I had been an entrepreneur, I had been self-employed. I was a sole proprietor or the sole breadwinner when my oldest was young, was young. But I hadn't done that in 20 years. So I hadn't had to be in that role for over 22 years. And it was sudden, it was unexpected, and there was an awful lot of beeps moments during that time period, which is really interesting that we ended up back here because Erica, that was the first podcast we did with you was on that book.
So let's go to some mic drop moments, ladies.
Uh-oh.
So you've done keynotes, you've done breakouts, you've been on lots of stages. What one so far has been your favorite and why?
I mean, in some ways, my favorite was something called the Directors Roundtable that was in Austin back in the early 2000s, because those were some of my first speaking to a group of like 60 people. So I really like that. But as far as ones that are happening now, I'm a big fan of Childcare Business Growth. Childcare Business Growth Live, which is now going to be in Miami every year, because it has my people, like directors and owners who think about the business the way I do, and the people who are the principals of that company ran schools and they know what it takes. And so right now, I'd say that's my favorite. What about you, Kate? What's another great stage that we've been on?
So, in Texas, one of the things that the Texas Workforce Commission does is pay for conferences for like 1,000 of their quality providers. And feel like I need to frame this a little bit. In Texas, there are over 9,000 licensed programs. So Texas is not your average state. And so a lot of those programs, probably over 70% of those programs, are part of the quality improvement program. And so the state hosts 3 to 4 conferences every year for those folks to come for free. It doesn't cost them to come for the training. The state puts them up in a hotel that comes with breakfast and lunch, the 2 days of training. And there is something about walking into a room with, 120 folks who know us, because they listen to the podcast or they get our newsletter or they've been to a workshop before. We did one literally 2 days ago, and I loved it because somebody came up and said, I have your books. I listened to your podcast. I didn't even know it was you. And they
That
just
is
came
cool.
to they came to the title. And so although we get some of that when we go to other places around the country, still getting that in Texas is a lot of fun because it's the next generation of directors who haven't necessarily heard us for the last, 25 years. And,
Sure.
we've been doing conferences for over 20. And so, like, sometimes you kind of go, well, we're in Texas. How many people are there to still hear us talk? Because, again, we have large state conferences in Texas. There's multiple associations. And so, and we've presented, I was going to say performed, we've presented at,
In your case, perform is accurate.
we presented at most of them more than once. And usually when we go, we're doing 3 or 4 workshops in a day. So you have lots of opportunity to see us. And we had folks come to all 3 workshops. We're so excited, joined the book, bought the book on Amazon and came up to tell us about it. And anyway, so it was just a really great, that still is the warm and fuzzies. I'm still getting used to it in states other than Texas, which it happens every once in a while, but not to that same level as with Texas directors. And they will always have a dear place in my heart.
I'm sure. So with that being said, what topic do you feel like you're most known for? And maybe what topic are you hoping people pay more attention to?
I mean, I think we're known as the Monkey Ladies. And we kind of gave up and bought got some great artwork made for us. We have wearable art of jackets that have monkeys felted on the back, because monkey management, while we didn't come up with the phrase, we've all heard phrases like she's got a monkey on her back and there's a monkey around her neck, or who's not my circus, not my monkey, all of that kind of stuff. But to me, there are so many things that leaders of schools have to do, and you have to manage them, manage all the things, because you can't do all of them. You've got to decide what's urgent, what's important, what you should do, what you should hire done. Like that concept, people in leadership in any industry have a tendency to be reactionary. But in our industry, it's kids' lives on the line. And so we're really reactionary. And it does not serve our business as well. So I think that's what we're most known for, is doing monkey management workshops. And, you know, it was another one of those things where we didn't plan on writing a book about it, but people kept going, why are you writing other books? Why aren't you writing a book about monkey management? Women? I don't know. What about you, Kate? What's something you wish we were better known for?
Well, I think because it's become kind of our own little soapbox slash passion, is that owning your power and understanding that role that your personal leadership plays. And we know that, Erica, you are right there with helping every staff person find their own leadership voice. And we love that. And so I feel like this is where female leaders in ECE need to come back to the stage and speak from the stage and say, look, hey, I'm so glad you're all motivated by these men, but let's get motivated by the leaders in the field. And that's kind of where we are right now, is empowering different folks, predominantly women in ECE, to find their power, find their voice. And we love doing that workshop. And we love, I mean, that was our last book that's been publicly published. We have one that's coming out really, really soon, but it's not out yet. And so we absolutely love helping folks find their power.
And that brings us to another one of our favorite stages that we hope will continue to happen, which was Erica's stage. And that was Erica and Noelle owning their power and going, you know what? We could throw a conference and I bet it would kick butt. And they did. They threw an excellent one, and they're figuring out what it'll look like next time.
So I know this has got to be a yes, and you guys always have like the most fun stories. So, have you ever had a presentation maybe go off the rails, and how did you pivot and own it?
There's so many options.
I was very prepared for this interview.
There are many options. So we had a session where we were teaching and people were at rounds, and we're about a third of the way through, and one table just got up and left. The whole table just left. And so we said, well, I guess they had somewhere else to be, and we just kept going. That's the one that pops in my head right now. But
okay, well, sure... I got one. All right. So seriously, so one of the things that we are not known for, Erica, is, I'm going to say, being short. Like, I don't think we've ever finished a session early. Like, we've never not had enough to say. And there was a session literally this week where we got our timing off a little, and we thought we were running behind. And so I skipped a couple of like group session slides, and then all of a sudden we were done. But we still have 15 minutes to go. And so Carrie's like, I'm going to take this mic. And Carrie went off on a little 15-minute tangent, that like a little mini workshop in a workshop. And it ended up coming out really, really great. And there was a lot of fun with it, but it was just kind of one of those, well, that didn't kind of go quite as expected. Now, we've always been known to go off topic. So sometimes we get people who will ask a question that is completely unrelated to the topic we're teaching at the moment, but they know we know the answer. So like, we might be doing a leadership workshop, and someone will be like, okay, but I'm still trying to figure out how to put kids in my program because the preschool next door, or the elementary school next door, started preschool and they took all my children. And so, we're like, okay, that's not this workshop, but we can answer the question. And so we will do that. And again, I think because of the number of times we've presented, I mean, we haven't actually really done the math, but we've did preliminary math. And so we've probably presented well over 500 times. And so with over
I mean,
500,
yeah, since it's 100 this year so far.
well, as okay. Anyway, we know that there's things that we can pull back in, another story, a way to loop an unrelated topic back into whatever the topic is. And that really just comes from doing something over and over, building our own confidence. It's definitely not something we necessarily could have done when we started training. I started training literally, I was an MC for the first time at age 14, and I was teaching adults by 17 for the American Red Cross. So, 40 years of training, there's not a whole lot of things that you can cause me to pivot or completely derail. I think the biggest thing for us is trying to stay on time.
Okay.
Yep.
Speaking of time, is it okay if we run long? I don't know.
Oh
Am I
yeah,
able
keep
to-
going. You
Are we
got us.
good? Okay,
Yep.
all right. I mean, I guess it's your show. So if you give me green light, we're gonna go. Let's go behind the curtain. So, how do how do you prepare before you go on stage, or before you record an episode? Like, is there any rituals, any routines, any power playlists? Like, what do you guys do? You amp yourself up? Like, what do you do?
I make sure I have hulls in my pocket for my throat, which gets scratchy. But it's for me very much like what I taught my kids to do when they were acting, which is go over your lines. And then once you know you've got your lines, open yourself up to the flow of what's going to happen in that moment to be authentically there. Don't be so wedded to your lines that you're not willing to serve the people who are in front of you.
Mm. Yeah, the good news is they don't know that they don't know the line. So even if you messed it up, they wouldn't know that you messed it up. So
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm not sure I have anything incredibly, like it always happens the same. The biggest thing is trying to get myself present for who I'm talking to. And so sometimes that might be not checking social media, not answering the phone, not reading that text message. Um, sometimes it's trying to remember to eat or drink something ahead of time, or maybe not do it in the middle, because there have been times where it's like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have drank that Coke or that coffee halfway through the session or the training day, because we now need to take a break. And it wasn't that kind of session. When we're doing full days or we're driving someplace, I think one of the things that we've really done as we've gotten older is we no longer try to drive, train, and then drive home in the same day. Even because, again, Texans are a little weird. We do that with a 3-hour drive. We're known to, get up at 5 a.m., drive to Dallas, which is 3 hours from us, do a presentation, and drive home. We try to do that a lot less. We try to enjoy where we're going, take advantage of those swimming pools at the hotels or the hot tubs, or, maybe it's just even having some fun food, or, there's this one place we always stop for, insert whatever the item might be.
It's kolaches. The item is kolaches.
Yes, we like our pastries, so we like our German pastries, and so I think that's as close as I get. Like, I don't have a playlist. I also don't get in my head, but never have. So that's not something that I have ever had as an issue. I think even because, again, when you start when you're under 20 and you don't really care what people think, I guess I just kind of always been in that, well, if it doesn't go well, it's not going to go well.
We've both been public speaking our whole lives, so it doesn't really phase us the way it does a lot of people. And so I don't know that I have any advice to give other people on that, other than be present with the people you're with.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So what do you think the biggest misconception is that people have about either publishing a book or getting in front of 500 people and speaking?
Well, to me, the thing that I think that everybody thinks that's a misconception is that it's really, really hard. I think you have to be determined. And if you've set the goal, I mean, I look at people who run 10Ks and marathons and go, no way. I mean, there needs to be a dedicated bear behind me making me make that run, right? Like that's not something that I would even remotely find entertaining or fun. And I know that there are folks who feel the same way when they watch somebody pull out, calculus or math calculations to do a project, and they go, no. Where for us, being able to tell a story or help somebody tell a story, whether that's on stage or in print, I think is something that we've become really comfortable with. And when we had that aha moment and people asked, will you help me? That's when we realized that as educators, it is our job to help them learn a new skill. And these are just new skills that they haven't had a chance to learn yet. And we want them to learn them. We want them to own their power. So if it's making sure that they know how to look at a cover design, that's going to be an effective cover design on a book, how to understand what the audience is really going to look for in a nonfiction book or in a children's book. Even though we don't really we don't help a whole lot of folks with children's books. We have enough folks that we do help. We just don't want to take on, because there's a lot when it comes to finding those illustrators. That's painful.
Yeah, I mean, I think for some people, the mystery is they think, oh, well, I couldn't write a book because that's for those people who have upper level college degrees, right? They think that you have to have gotten a master's degree in writing in order to write a book. And I'm like, Stephen King doesn't have one, and nobody's telling him to stop writing. You don't have to have a degree in writing to write. You just have to know how to put words together. And if you have friends, you probably know how to do that.
All right. So let me see. I'm going to ask one more question. What is next for Kate and Carrie? Any sneak peeks? Anything you can drop for us? Anything you want to spill? Now's the time.
So I'm going to share one and I'll let Carrie share the other.
Oh, hopefully I remember what it is, but go for it.
So, like Erica mentioned from the beginning, we wear lots of hats. We have several businesses that are industry related. And we have been doing online director credentialing for the last 23 years. And we are really excited that our newest platform is actually launching in 11 states. That'll be customized for those states. So it's going to be TexasDirector.org is going to have some sisters in New Mexico, Florida, Georgia, Louisiana, New England, Michigan.
He's going to forget some.
I'm going to forget some, but we're really excited about watching those sister sites open before the end of 2025. So, Carrie, I hope that means that you remember the other one.
I don't know, but I just want to say it's a national director credential and it's available in 2 levels. So the other thing I think she's alluding to is that one of our books is being used as the textbook for a course at Charter Oaks University, and another university is talking to us about using some other of our books. So, and we're kind of befuddled because we use it in our director credentialing course and we use the whole book, and they're teaching a whole semester class and they're only using a few chapters. And we're like, so does that mean our director class dives too deep into too many subjects? Anyway, so I think that's the other one Kate wanted us to talk about, because we think that's kind of it's a big deal to me. My dad was a college professor. And so for me, that's very much bringing it full circle to my family.
Yeah, that's a cool thing. That's a cool thing. So thanks for coming on Childcare Conversations with Kate and Carrie. Make sure you keep tuning in. Make sure you hit that follow, subscribe button, whatever platform you're watching or listening. This is Erica from the Childcare Directors Chair podcast. As always, have a great day.
Wait.
Sure,
No.
wait. Make
You did it to us.
Make sure that you also go over to the child care director's chair and take a listen to Erica, because she has a lot to offer as well. And she has episodes covering just about every subject as well. And she's amazing and a lot of fun.
So are you. They already know
Well,
I'm
and
charming.
what's great
They
is
already
Erica will
figured
take
out
care of you
I'm
every single day
charming.
of the week. Erica's got you every day of the week.
Every day.
So if you
honey,
need to
every
pick me
day.
up because you've had a rough day with the staff, go on to Erica's podcast and she will pick you the heck up.
That is a true story. That is true.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. Keep doing what you're doing. If you are a conference coordinator and you don't have these ladies at your conference, you're missing out. That's all I've got to say. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in. We love bringing you real talk and fresh insight from the world of early childhood education. Be sure to follow us on social media to stay connected and catch all of the latest episodes. And if you're planning a conference, training, or special event, Kate and Carrie would love to speak to your audience. You can learn more about their keynote sessions and workshops at kateandcarrie.com. If you learned something today, share the show and leave us a review below. We'll see you next time on Childcare Conversations.